Thank you for listening. A list of content warnings can be found in the episode description. Take care. Enjoy the show. Planescape Torment, the Unofficial audio series. A narrative let's play adapted and produced by RevocerGM. Combining in-game audio with additional voice acting through dialogue and descriptions to improve your listening experience. Rediscover the amazing story of the 1999 cult classic isometric video game, Planescape Torment, like you've never heard before. Filthy rainwater and waste runoff carve deep channels through the muck, draining towards the gate that separates the buried village from the catacombs below. The crumbling fortifications suggest this structure may have once been a guardhouse, but more resembles a gutter now, gathering sewage in its grated bars. A group of Farad soldiers have been set up here as garrison. Chief among them is a massive human, clad in cast-off patchwork armor, who lounges casually against the iron grill. He calls out to you as you approach, interrupting his idle chatter.
We could be fetching some mighty fine jink. Hey, what do you want?
He truly is huge, and the reek of old ale wafting from his direction almost masks the smell of garbage that fills the place. Evening. Who am I speaking to?
None of your damn business, frankly. Pack off.
Hey, take it easy. I just wanted to know what you're doing here.
What does it look like I'm doing? Washing your underclothes? Get out of here, you stupid Burke.
Now, Farad gave me his leave to go down to the catacombs. Asked me to retrieve something for him. I'm sure he'd be interested to know why you've decided I shouldn't. He bites his tongue and gives a sharp nod to his men.
Then get going, Burke. And don't waste our time.
Farewell.
Oi, Cutter, wait up.
A sour-faced, middle-aged man scurries after you. You can see that beneath his collector's robes, his lower legs and forearms are swathed in filth-encrusted bandages.
Oh, Cutter, hold up. You heading down into tombs?
It would seem so.
Right, well, I've a favour to ask you.
Go on.
Well, 'cause I lost my lucky knife, you see. Been with me for years, right here.
And?
Well, I was poking about in the tunnels below and ran smack into a ghoul. Must have been a straggler, because there's usually more than one. He bit at me face, so I covered up with my arms and stabbed it in the eyes. Shake the piker off and made it back up here.
That's quite a story.
Aye. So, would you?
Would I what?
Find it. I'd be grateful, so's I would. It's got me name carved into the handle.
He stares at you, expectantly. And your name is...
Oh, right. Ooh, here. Of course.
Hey, tell me, what lies beyond the gate?
The Weeping Stone Catacombs. Lots of deaders, lots of crypts to loot. Rhys, he's the one who usually did most of the looting, and well, we figure he's been caught, snagged by something, penned in the dead book.
What might have caught him?
Oh, any one of the undead stumbling about. Zombies, skeletons mostly. Ghouls, course.
He signals casually to the bandages covering his limbs.
Horned lizards, vicious fighters is what I hear. Oh, and the flying heads. Oh, those you should watch out for.
Flying heads?
Oh, I don't know much about them, but I know enough to run.
You mentioned Rhys.
Yeah, Rhys, the vulture. He and the boys went down a few peaks ago, not been seen since. You find his body, you bring it back, yeah?
He smiles at you like a jackal.
We can sell it to the Dusties for some jink.
Why is it called the Weeping Stone Catacombs?
Oh, lots of water drips down, trickles from above. Make it look like the walls are crying. Name follows. So's, me dagger?
I'll keep an eye out.
Aye.
Heavy iron clangs behind you as Uhir scampers out of sight, and the passage ahead plunges into a steep decline. The greasy mud of the village now gives way to slime-slick slabs of carved stone, and the damp air stills, sputtering your torches as they strive to stay lit in this ancient cold. Time's tide has eroded these halls. Knowledge of generations lost to memory. I fear to end in such a place would be to end in all existence. Then let's not let it be an end. We'll keep our eyes open. You make your descent through the catacombs below. A twisting network of narrow tunnels, lined floor to ceiling with shallow ossuaries. Glinting streaks of moisture flicker in the light of your torch as you tread carefully over cracked tiles and broken traps, intended no doubt to deter such passage. Grand hallways open to you, lined with carved sarcophagi, wrought as marble whites, empty of all but dust and scattered bone. Whatever scraps had been left by the looting collectors in these upper tombs hold no discernible value. At the end of one tunnel, a set of tools lies discarded beneath the panel of a great copper door, recently pried from its verdigreed hinges. The stench wafting from within is a vile combination of rotting flesh and bat guano. Rows and rows of neatly arranged skulls and stacked bone form a morbid gallery spanning the circumference of this domed tomb. Their subject, a central cask laid on a circular pedestal.
Chief, I don't like that look in your eye. You can't seriously be thinking about touching that thing.
And why not? Farad's baubles gotta be in one of these halls. It's as good a place to check as any. And, well, if we happen upon other treasures along the way, it'd be a shame to leave them behind. You approach the pedestal cautiously. A ring of mosaicked glass decorates the ground about it, depicting the life and death of some ancient queen. It seems she met her demise under the fall of a headsman's axe. May her victims bear witness to a judgment in death. Well, Your Majesty, whatever you did, I'm sure you had your reasons. You notice the tiled pattern breaks partway up the base, interrupting the spiraling flames of an inferno that concludes her story. Leaning in close, you spot a series of tiny glyphs etched up the sides of the pedestal, cunningly disguised in the detail of the image. Their script, however, is misaligned and uneven. Gently, you take hold of the upper bowl, and with a little effort begin to twist the chalice-like stone. Much to your relief, it begins to turn, and with a low grinding sound, you set the glyphs to their proper position. At once, each symbol glows bright orange, then dissipates, inert. Holding your breath, you carefully lift the lid off the urn, revealing a well-preserved skull nestled amongst a bed of ashes. A crown of 5 platinum discs rests upon its brow. Such adornment, my lady, only tarnishes your beauty. As you unburden the queen of her earthly possessions, an odd chattering swells from the gallery of bones. A score or more of leering heads shift their gaze in your direction, and bat-like wings unfurl, flapping as they lurch from the shelves.
What are they? Vaguls. They a problem? This many of them are.
Dakon springs to action, sweeping his glaive in a mighty curve. With a crack, it lengthens to a lash, felling 3 of the abominations mid-flight. One head swoops, tongue lolling, babbling with incomprehensible glee. Its visage, shifting in the descent, twists to a mockery of your own. Stretching its now scarred lips, it reveals viper-like fangs and shreds of rotting skin. You meet the horrid reflection with the edge of your axe, severing its jaw with a gurgling cry. Mort is mobbed in the thick of it, indistinguishable from the flurry of skulls as they flicker, mirroring his form, teeth gnashing, eyes wide and mad. With a quick incantation, a volley of bolts flies from your grasp, dropping a handful as they smoke in arcane fumes. Unrelenting, more of the shifting faces now pour in from the cracks about the tomb, swelling the screeching swarm.
There are too many!
Follow me! You brandish your torch, focusing its flame into a blast, and the smell of burning fills your nostrils as you clear a path to the exit. The 3 of you flee, discarding caution for speed as forking tunnels split your path. Veering to the left, you leap over rubble and broken stone as the yammering heads fill the passage behind. As you dash through an opening, Your torchlight glistens across a sea of starry eyes, and familiar light begins to flare about you, emanating from a carpet of fur. Hundreds of skittering feet begin to ripple throughout the hall, and the echoes still for a moment, silent. Then, a surge of static rips about you, launching your body against the wet street walls. Numbed by the force, the scrape of tiles slides beneath you as Dakon pulls you from the colliding hordes. And with a foul utterance, a stream of bile-coated bugs burst from your mouth. You hadn't realized the spell would be so vile, erupting into the crowd. They buzz and chew at the mad scurry of rats, claws, wings, and horrid faces. Distanced now from the commotion, you and Dakon catch your breath as Mort inspects the passage ahead.
I think we're clear. For now.
Uh-huh.
I admit, that felt like a bad idea.
Oh, yeah? What gave you that impression?
I'm sorry.
Axelai drowning. That could have been the end for you.
Dakon, I'm all right.
Your body may be restored, but your mind is broken if you think there's room for such mistakes down here.
I know.
You do not know. You may endure such perils better than most, but know that we must remain to drag you from whatever fate you cast yourself upon.
What do you mean?
The shadows cast by your torchlight seem to lengthen on Dakon's face, and you were reminded how old you had thought he looked when you had first approached him.
Dakon, if you no longer wish to travel with me, I won't keep you. It is not my wish to bring you to any harm.
A look of pain crosses his face, as if there was nothing that you could have said that would have hurt him more.
On the blasted plains, Zerthamon told Gith that there cannot be two skies. In the wake of his words came war.
Dakon,
Time is precious. Let us not squander it here.
The hall about you is better maintained than most in the catacombs that you have come across before. The vaulted ceiling is corniced, with carvings of razorvine, and the wall is embossed in a relief of battle scenes, wild hunts, and triumph. The impressive display continues for 15 or so feet before it ends, abruptly, with a dark, polished stone wall.
Hey, Chief, you see this?
Is that some script? It's hard to read.
I think it says, "Glory breaks upon the legs of the mighty."
Huh. I think this is the tomb that Arkin, Cheryl's father, had been searching for.
You think it's a riddle?
You look to the leg bone from Marta's hospice, hoping for some clue. And after a pause, grasp it at either end and shatter it across your knee. It splinters into brittle shards, clattering to the floor, and the dark stone before you begins to vibrate. Through the portal, you find a regal and ostentatious tomb. Great hunting trophies are mounted at either end, and sets of armor and gilded weaponry line the walls. All are either overtly ornate or impractically large, ceremonial or decorative only. Sealed off from the damp of the Weeping Catacombs, however, age has not tarnished them as it has other treasures, and the whole tomb glints golden in the glow of your torch. In the center is a large slab of beautifully carved marble, almost perfectly pristine, if not for the stain of dried blood that mars the far corner to the right. Beneath it, you just see the edges of a mangled form. A man, clothes torn and ruined features, a bag of bright bangles spilled about him.
Oh no. I think we found our man Arkin.
Chief, I don't mean to be callous, but whatever did that to him has to be around here somewhere. We should get out of here, immediately. This tomb was made for the Forgotten. To leave him would be to bind him to that fate as well. We can't carry a body with us through the catacombs, Dakon.
Well, I mean, maybe you can't.
Oh, nice, Chief. Real classy. I'll remember that next time I drag your ass to some midwife.
I do not wish to jeopardize your task. I leave this decision to you.
You notice the glaive on Dakon's back seems less bright than usual. The edges dull, like tin.
All right, Dakon, let's pick him up.
His body isn't particularly heavy. While it looks like he was strong and able, he was clearly malnourished. Between the two of you, you have no trouble lifting him onto your shoulders, carrying him like pallbearers towards the portal. But as you approach the dark archway, you are met once again with a panel of polished stone.
The portal's gone.
We need the key again.
You got another leg bone kicking around?
No. What in the hells is that?
Lurching towards you is the abominable sight of a skeletal behemoth, thrashing its crested brow with ancient fury. Its hulking shoulders propel it forward, dragging the ruined shards of its legs as they scrape over the marble slab. In one devastating swoop, it mauls you to the ground, sending Arkin's body crumpling to the wall. The dark stones begin to warp and vibrate as throbbing pains shoot through your hip. You look down and see jagged bone jutting from the side of your upper thigh.
Gee, through the portal! Go!
Dakon cleaves at the rabbit mask as vicious fangs snap at your face. Reeling, it arches his back with a mighty roar, its horror vast and beyond. Gritting through the pain, you heave yourself onto your knees and launch headlong through the portal, crashing to the other side. Splintered bone flies through the air as Dakon's glaive whirls about him, filling the hall with its radiant glow. The golden light glares through the beast, illuminating its ribs like the prow of a breaching ship as it emerges from the wall. Strike after frenzied strike slams down as Dakon guides its claws onto broken stone. Relentless, it gores its antlered crown into his chest, tossing him weightless through the air.
No!
Desperate power rises within you, and with a thunderous crack, a blast of force surges from your palms, pushing the terror back through the portal. And as its final screech reverberates through the tunnel, the shimmering wall settles once more to solid stone.
Dakon!
Oh no. You pull yourself along the ground towards him, his face ashen and still. His glaive almost pooling about him, a puddle of molten steel. A horrid rent is gouged through his chest, where the horns of the beast had hooked between the rings in his armor.
He's not breathing.
You find the bead of clotted blood Mebeth gave you and press it under his tongue, massaging his throat to help him swallow. He does not stir. He's starting to feel cold.
No.
Alas, poor Dakon. I know him well.
No, this is not over. I know what to do.
Quickly, you find the wooden flask strapped about his hip and pull the stopper out with your teeth. Flakes of wispy dust drift from its spout, landing like fresh snow upon his skin. And nothing happens.
No!
You focus on the wounds, remembering how he treated your own as you lay bleeding in the alley behind the bar. You remember the strength it gave you, filling the holes in your skin and bringing clarity to your mind. You remember the warmth of licking tendrils as they sealed the gashes in your flesh. You remember it working.
Something's happening.
His skin flares red as slow trails of blood seep towards the tears, mingling with the powder to a congealed paste. After a moment, the red fades. The sludgy scab flakes away, revealing a patch of smooth and newly grown skin.
Dakon. Please.
He does not answer. His wounds have healed, but no breath rises in his chest. No pulse surges through his veins. His eyes rest closed. None of the tension you're used to seeing in his jaw and brow.
It's not enough.
I'm so sorry, Chief.
No! Well, what can I do? How can I bring him back?
You remember Dakon's strength, his fierce loyalty and unyielding bravery. How unfaltering he stood at the front, facing off any danger without giving a step. You remember his quiet words of wisdom, guiding you towards balanced judgment and clarity of thought. You remember the simple joy of seeing him smoke and sip as he taught you the ways of his language and the arts. You remember his fears upon entering these tombs, that to lose himself would be a fate worse than death.
What have I done? I'm so sorry, Dagon.
As the gnawing regret swells in your stomach, a crawling sensation wells up in the back of your skull.
And in your hand lies the spark of life and death. Those that die near you carry a trace of themselves that you can bring forth.
Warmth pulses down your arms to your fingertips. As you lift up your hand, you can see the blood coursing sluggishly through your arm, pouring into your muscles, and in turn, giving strength to your bones. And it dawns upon you. Without a moment of doubt, you lay your palms upon his chest and will the life back to his body. All of that churning grief twists like a briared knot about your heart. Pangs of pain writhe within, as if old wounds had opened and spilled anew. Your veins pulse, branching black and thick over your skin, as life empties back into him. And with a breath, his coal-like eyes begin to open.
Dagon? It is I.
Are you all right? I am wounded.
You'll be fine.
You were hurt.
I'll be fine.
Already, the bone that was jutting from the side of your leg has reformed. The pain now little more than a dull ache.
So, you're both okay. Okay. Shall we think about getting out of here?
Yeah. Let's.
Slowly and gently, you take up Arkin's body once more, and notice a faint smile grow in the corners of Dakon's mouth as you limp your way back through the damp halls. It takes you some time to retrace your steps, taking care not to encounter any further traps or hordes of rats, flying heads, or any other abominations. And after an hour or so, you find yourself climbing back to the iron gateway that bars the entrance to the buried village.
Yeah, had a bad go of it, didn't he?
Well, he hasn't come back since last time, has he?
Hey, look.
Oh, Farad's new prize made it out alive.
And he's brought us a gift.
Pipe down. What you got there? Corpse? Good for now, except jink.
Yeah, I'm just taking it to the seamstress.
Aye, good, but first, you got what Farad's wanting?
Yes.
Show it to me, Burke, and I'll raise the gate, but not until. Yeah?
All right, I don't have it, but I do have something you might be interested in.
Yeah? What might that be?
How's this loot sound?
You jangle Arkin's purse of bangles against the iron bars.
Sounds like that'll do it. That'll do nicely. Pass it through and I'll open the gate.
You know, I never did get your name.
What does it matter? I'm Bar, the gate guard. Now, the loot.
Well, Bar, grab it and it's yours. As he reaches for the coins, you snap your grip about his arm. He tries to struggle out of your grasp, but you pin it against the gate and wrench it around.
Now let me in, or I'll break it off, and we'll have no more of your games.
He hastens to open the gate before you can make good on your threat, and stands far out of your reach as you pass through.
You ever cross me again, and I'll be picking your limbs out of 3 different crypts. Understood? Good.
He told you.
Shut up.
Carrying a body through the buried village draws little concern amongst this community. A few eyes do drift in your direction, though, as you detour from Martyr's Hospice to find Cheryl, camped at one of the tents on the outskirts. The smile that brightens on her face as she sees you approach quickly dims as she notices what you are bearing towards her.
Is that him?
I am sorry, Cheryl.
A grimness sets in her eyes.
Well, go on then. Let me see.
Are you sure?
Let me see.
You and Dakon lay Arkin's body upon a reedy mat on the ground. Cheryl does not move. You kneel beside him, and after a pause, carefully pull the veil from his face. His wispy graying hair is matted with dried blood, and heavy bruising purples his brow. His closed eyes rest peaceful under their lids. And beneath his cheekbones, a heavy gash mars the lower half of his face, cutting beneath his nose through to his jaw, exposing broken and bloody teeth.
So the Burke went and got himself killed.
She stares down at him, unmoving, her eyes glazed and distant.
Cheryl, he found a tomb that was...
You go to help her as she folds over, retching.
No, don't touch me.
All right.
Stay back. I'm fine.
She remains stooped, her hands locked to her knees, and after a moment straightens up, her eyes closed tight, her breath short and sharp through the nose.
I know this doesn't make it any better, but he had this on him.
The bangles gleam in the firelight as you open Arkin's pouch. Bright gold bands set with jade stones and amethyst. This was not some minor noble's tomb that Arkin had found, but the burial of a fey and terrible king. With time, you're certain to have found enough riches to garnish all the guards in Sigil.
By any rights, these are yours.
Cheryl slowly opens her eyes, red now and full of quiet tears. As she sees the bag glinting before her, a painful grimace twists upon her face.
And what am I to do with those? Booze from the still is worth more than jewels down here.
Then why stay?
She shakes her head.
What do you mean?
You don't need to be down here.
It's where I belong.
It doesn't have to be. You said yourself that you followed your down here. That you didn't have anywhere to stay in the hive. Well, this would change that.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Or maybe not. But why can't things change?
Sigil don't allow change, Cutter.
Who cares about Sigil? What about you?
What does that matter?
Because you matter, Cheryl. Is that such a thing to ask? That you could allow yourself to matter?
The glare of fire dances in her eyes as she stares in towards the central basin of the buried village.
Don't think me ungrateful, Cutter.
I don't.
She reaches out, taking the bag from your hands, before kneeling down, then gently places a kiss upon her father's brow and draws the veil over his face.
Thank you, Dad.
With few words, you aid Cheryl in finding an empty cart and help secure Arkin's body from rats, collectors, or others who might disturb his peace. Then, leave her to decide, alone, what she'd like to do next.
Thank you for listening to Planescape Torment, the unofficial audio series, a RevocerGM production. To support the show and those involved, please consider subscribing to our Patreon or donating via our Ko-fi page. Links to both are in the description.